I made the decision to go ahead and race all of the Sea Otter mountain bike events. So today I'm racing enduro, Saturday I'm racing dual slalom, and Sunday I'm racing cross country and downhill. Good morning and welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. We are so stoked you are here. If you are new, I am Mackie. Sid is back there sitting in the van. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can join us as we race some of the coolest races around the world. Today, we are racing the Sea Otter Enduro. And I made the decision a couple months ago to go ahead and race all of the Sea Otter mountain bike events. So today I'm racing enduro, Saturday I'm racing dual slalom, and Sunday I'm racing cross country and downhill. So it's gonna be a pretty crazy, hectic, super busy weekend, but I'm really excited. I am racing all of those events on the same bicycle. This is the Jamis Portal. This bike doesn't technically exist yet. This is a test bike. The production ones are aluminum and they exist now. This one is not aluminum. I kind of want to prove to myself that I can race all four of those disciplines. I don't really have any expectations for them. I would like to not be last in any of them. That would be nice. The day I am most worried about is Sunday. I race both cross country and downhill, and the cross country starts at 7:30 in the morning, and I have to finish the cross country fast enough to make it to the downhill, which starts at 10. I was not able to get one number plate that would work for all my events. Instead, I have 4 number plates. They are yellow because I am racing pro in all 4 of the events. Bib number 4 for the enduro, bib number 40 for the dual slalom, bib number 30 for the cross country, and bib number 51 for the downhill. I suspect I'm possibly the only person racing all 4 events. If not, I am definitely the only person racing pro in all 4 events. I think one of the best ways to visualize how different these 4 events are is the different kit that I will be wearing. For the cross country, I will be wearing spandex top and bottom. For the enduro, I will be wearing more kind of my usual riding gear. This will be my first ever dual slalom. I don't really know what people wear, so I'm basically gonna wear the same thing that I wore for the enduro. And finally, for the downhill. Obviously the downhill, you're going a little bit faster. A full face helmet is required. First race is the Sea Otter Enduro. I don't really have expectations for the Sea Otter Enduro. I've never had an especially good race here. I think last year I was like 17th or something. It tends to be really short race time, like 10, 12 minutes, like something really short, which I know is not my strength because my background is cross country and then transitioning to enduro. I tend to prefer longer stages and more stages that require kind of consistency throughout more race time or throughout more days even, like our Andes Pacifico videos. I'm just gonna go out there and see how it goes, try to have fun, try not to destroy myself before the 3 other races I'm doing this weekend.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well, that was quite the wake-up call. Just hammer as hard as you could, sprint as hard as you could. I'd say hit stuff more or less the way I wanted. And now after a 15-ish minute pedal, getting pretty close to stage 2.
2, 1, go, have fun.
That was stage 2. That one was also really hard. I think it was only a little over 4 minutes, but it just felt like you were sprinting the entire time. So I definitely crossed the finish line gasping, but I think it was good. I don't know, I felt pretty good on it. This bike rolls really well.
1, go.
Felt fairly good. Not quite as positive about it as the last one, but it's all good. Got a bit of a transition over there, and then we're done. Crazy how short these days are compared to a lot of enduros.
3, 2, 1, go. Riders are on course.
All right, first race of the weekend done. I'm pleased with it. I tried to pedal hard where I could. I felt like I rode the downhill fairly well. It was so short. I think I was done in like an hour and 45 minutes. It's just ridiculous how close the results are. Like, a spot up was 1 second, 2 spots up was 2 seconds, 3 spots up was 3 seconds, 4 spots up was 5 seconds. First stage, my legs were definitely like, whoa, what are you doing? I probably should have done some sprints or maybe jumped on the rip row, probably would have been good before that one, just to like wake myself up and get my heart rate going a little bit. I think of all the races I'm doing this weekend, the Enduro was probably the one that my bike was best suited to. I think the 29er 130 mil is really good for this trail or for this race because it's beefy enough that it handles the downhill well, but rolls well and corners well and pedals well for the more cross-country descents. So it'll be interesting to see how it feels for the dual slalom on Saturday and then the cross-country and downhill on Sunday. But I love that bike. Good morning. All right, I'm about to go race the dual slalom. This will be my first ever dual slalom race. I've raced down the dual slalom during the enduro. I've never actually raced dual slalom, so I literally know nothing about it. I know that there are qualifiers, which is what's happening this morning, and that the top 32 people make it to the finals. I don't even know how qualifying works. Like, I don't know if it's bracketed like the finals are, like you race 2 people at a time and like the person who wins goes on, like moves on, or if it's based on like your time. I don't know like how you choose which track you're raced down for your timing run or for your qualifying run. Like, I literally know nothing. For my bike setup, I left the like more XC tire, the Mezcal, on the back because I wanted to roll really well. And I put the Martello on the front, which is what I am gonna race for the downhill, because I felt like having the extra cornering traction would be good because there are a lot of like flat, grassy corners. I'm gonna go practice and hopefully get a couple of runs in, see what the course is like, and then qualifying, and like it would be super fun to make it to the finals. I don't know how good of a chance I have. I don't know what the competition's gonna be like. I don't know how seriously people are taking it. I literally know nothing about dual slalom, but I'm pretty excited, so I am gonna go.
Riders ready. Watch the gate.
So Chris, here you are. Your first run for Blevins was a 31st place.
Not going to hold up. But Blevins is going to have to hang out now and see if he makes it. We only picked in 47.07, Lee Donovan.
One spot.
Mackey!
Riders here this afternoon. You see some amazing racing. It's an epic.
How'd you feel?
It's so short.
I know, I know.
It's so weird.
I think you didn't practice as much as a lot of these
No, I
people
didn't.
either.
I got one.
Oh,
I got
geez.
one on each lap, on each side.
Yeah. I admit I was a little worried on the first one. I was like, wow, Mackey's really behind.
Blevins is going to have to hang out now and see if he makes it. We only picked
And I realized it was Cam Zink.
Zink.
So I'm like, oh, that's not too bad, actually.
No, I mean, honestly, like, I think my lap on the blue one was slightly faster than my enduro one.
Yeah.
Which, that's great, but like, you know, I was nowhere close to the guys who were like winning or qualifying for this, and honestly, that's fine. Like, I have not practiced going, like, trying to make up like fractions of a second on a 40-second course. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a 40-minute course, or like, you know, at least a
Well, yeah, it's a
5-minute
really
course.
different style of riding,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
totally
like, than what
different.
you're used
But
to.
it was fun. I had a good
Yeah,
time.
cool.
You know.
Good.
Yeah. It's
Shall
just
we
weird.
Head back to the van?
Back to the van.
Cool.
Oh man, just finished up the dual slalom. I did not qualify. As I said, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to qualify. I didn't really know how good my chance was. And basically, as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, my likelihood of qualifying is very low, given A, the competition. My first run, I went against Cam Zink, who has a lot more experience with dual slalom kind of things than I do. And secondly, other people were taking it a lot more seriously than I was, which is totally understandable. For some people, that's like their main event. For me, it was very much not my main event. Like I said, I literally have no experience with dual slalom. I had no idea what to expect. I like got in line and was like, so guys, who knows how qualifying works? And they're like, basically you race one time down the blue, one time down the red, they add your times together and then they take the top 32. And it didn't matter like who you lined up with. I felt like I had pretty smooth runs. I hit the red side better during the race than I did in practice, which was good because I didn't hit it very well in practice. So I raced the red side first. Like I said, I was against Cam Zink, and it was a little bit demoralizing to like have him go and be like, oh, I'm already slightly behind. This is a bummer. But it was pretty clean. I felt like I hit the corners pretty well. The second time I lined up next to like a young girl, it was just like, basically you just had to focus on you and your run and not worry about like anybody who was around you because it literally didn't matter. Overall, I'm pleased. It was a fun first experience racing dual slalom. I think were I to race dual slalom again and more seriously, I would definitely get more practice in. I felt like my setup was pretty good. The martello on the front like gave me really good traction, but I might run a little bit more air pressure, especially in the back, because on like some of the berms, you hit them so hard that I could feel the tires squirming just a little bit, just because there was so many G-forces going into the tire. So I'd probably run it just a little higher. Definitely learned some things, but yeah, just had a blast. Now we've got a group ride that we're leading, and then tomorrow is going to be the big day of cross country and then downhill. I have to admit, it's about now that I'm very much regretting my decision to race all 4 races, because it's 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and I have to go race cross country starting at 7:30. And then immediately after the cross country, I have to do a quick wheel swap and go race downhill. And really what I'd like to do right now is go back to sleep. I guess my I'm gonna race all 4 races plan sounded really good until about 5 minutes ago when the alarm went off. And now I'm wishing I had just said, I'm just gonna race the enduro, it'll be fine. I think today is the day I've been most nervous about, because it's been a while since I raced cross country. Like obviously we raced Moab Rocks, but I wasn't kind of pushing it as much, or to like the max of my effort. Wow, I look totally bald right now. It's really funny. I guess the van lighting is maybe not flattering me. I'll put my hood back on. I just haven't raced across country like hard, or as hard as I could, for a long time. 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Go!
Mexico. Papa Wheelie.
Well, I would say that went about as well as it could have. I just finished up the cross country. It took me about an hour 35, hour 40, something in there, which was faster than I was worried. I was afraid that I was gonna be like super rushed to make it to the downhill start, but I still have like 30 minutes or something. Initially, I was hoping to go off really hard at the start and like try to get towards the front for the first bit of single track. That did not happen at all. Those guys all started really fast, A, and B, I like pushed a little too hard and like my legs were like, whoa, you have not warmed up enough this morning. And so I went into the single track at the beginning pretty close to the back and then was able to like pick some people off, and the whole descent I was kind of picking people off, and then at the low point I sort of settled in with the guys who were around me there, and they dropped me some on the climbs and I'd catch back up. About maybe 45 minutes I sort of felt like I settled in, found my rhythm, and was able to be consistent and not feel like I was killing myself every time it went up, and then like ride smooth and fast on the descents. And then I started getting a little tired around an hour and was like, oh man, like I don't want to overdo it, I don't want to cramp. But I think by like thinking that, I convinced myself I was slowing down without actually slowing down that much. So I was able to stay with the guys and just like keep being consistent, keep being steady, and really stayed with them, you know, on all the climbs. I'm quite pleased with how it went. That was about as successful a cross country as I could have hoped for, given how much training I've done for it, which is not that much. I got stuck behind people a lot, but like really it wasn't a big deal. It was the climbs that were definitely what I suffered on and what I need to work on. I didn't cramp, I didn't crack. Climbing up the last hill, I was with a group of guys, and two of them were like, go in, and I was like, oh, I'll try to hold on. And I was like, nope, not gonna be able to hold on. So they got me, and I've got to swap wheels for the downhill, swap clothing, and then get over there and make sure I make it to my starts. Last race, something like 2.5 minutes. Got 2.5 minutes of racing left, and I just have to like go as hard as I can, finish off strong, smooth, clean, fast, and then done with this crazy weekend of racing.
2, 1, go.
All right, done with downhill, done with this crazy weekend of racing. I was definitely tired for the downhill. There's really no other good way to put it. I think my time was 2:13, which is approximately a second slower than my run on the downhill course during the enduro, but that was the very first thing I had done all weekend, and then the downhill race was the very last thing I did all weekend. So apparently the difference of 3 fairly hard races in between was worth about a second. I'm mostly just relieved to be finished. I'm pretty darn exhausted between racing all 4 of those events and like touching base with sponsors and doing a group ride and just all the things we had going on. It was a lot. it was definitely a lot, but it was fun to know that I could do it, and I was not last in anything. I would say I succeeded in my goals of doing all of them, racing them hard. I could definitely have practiced more, specifically for the downhill and the dual slalom, but I'm pleased. It sort of gives me a really good idea of where my fitness is right now, which is decent considering, but if I want to race cross country at all seriously, I have a lot of work to do. I was also just really pleased with how the bike did. Obviously Sea Otter is kind of an interesting one in that the enduro includes both the dual slalom and the downhill, as well as some cross-country descent. So I think the bike was like really well suited to that. It was fairly well suited to the downhill, a little bit less so to this specific cross-country, because this cross-country is not very technical, and there's a lot of climbing on roads. And so really a hardtail probably would have made more sense. But I wanted to see how it felt to race the same bike for all 4 events. And really, I'm extremely impressed. Like, that bike is so versatile. I didn't make super big changes. I did different wheels and tires for the downhill, and then swapped just the front wheel and tire for the dual slalom because I wanted a little bit more cornering traction. So not super significant changes, but it just rode really well. Like, that is such a fun bike. If I could only have one bike, that would probably be it. Like a mid-travel 130 mil, and that portal, it just pedals so well. Yeah, I'm not sure there's...
You tired, Mackie?
I'm a little tired.
Is Mackie tired?
I'm not sure there's a whole lot more to say. It was...
I'm very proud of him.
Oh, thanks.
Say that. I think we both a little bit underestimated how many other things we do at Sea Otter. So Mackie, I think, is being very humble. He was really tired for most of these races, and these are some of the best riders in the world. And you know what? You held your own, and we're not last in 4 different disciplines in the pro category. So he's a badass. Bike is a badass. That is the conclusion that he was having trouble pulling out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching this. I'll be in the next video, I promise. And in the meantime,
don't forget
to be more awesome. Sorry you're so tired.
So tired.